What up, y'all? Oh, that sun is blinding. Hey, you want to go on a hike with me and Axel? He's excited to go. He's freaking pulling me. It's been a while, but we're at the end of September, heading into October. So it is time we'll start transitioning away from the kayaking and the river adventures and back to the hiking and hopefully some winter camping and things like that. But anyway, today it's just me and Axe out here on the trail. Everybody was busy. Hayden, it's that time of year, he's got homesteading things he needs to get finished up. Jeremy, where Tony, his daughter, is going to her last homecoming tonight, which is pretty cool, and I think she's going to take her driver's test today. Viking Matt's son Ashton has baseball tournaments. Lynn has to work. So it's just me out here today. Me and Axel. I'm just gonna let him go. Yeah, just me and Axel here today. I'm gonna let him do this sniffing around before we take off on this trail here. But anyway, yeah, it's just me and Axel today, which is cool. I been wanting to get out and do a little solo hike by myself for a little while. So I wish I wish the others could be here, but it's cool. It's just me and Axe today. Don't have a lot of time, so I came to my one of my go-tos here, Twin Valley Trail. We're just gonna do this. It's either 6 to 8 mile loop, depending on what my tracker says at the end of any given hike. But anyway, we're gonna knock that out. But yeah, I've been wanting to get a solo in for a while. This is where I like to go and unpack what's been going on my head lately and things like that. So I've been needing this. As much as I wish some of the others were here, if not all of them, it's cool to just get out here with me and the dog. And I'm probably gonna rant and ramble and talk a lot about things that are going on in my life today. So try to do my best to connect with God and show my gratitude and just kind of reset, refocus, get myself back on the ground and start getting ready for this change of seasons. You know, something I have been thinking about that I want to mention while we're at the beginning of this video is if you guys have any suggestions on places you'd like to see me go to, do some off-trail exploring of, anything, say within an hour or two of like Richmond, Indiana. I don't mind the drive back and forth every day. If you got some or in one day. So if you got some suggestions or again, just anything you want to see, post in the comments and it'll help me plan for some adventures in the future. We've got some plans in the works, but a lot of them will require like a weekend trips, which is very hard for us to align on with all that we all have going on in our lives. You know, this channel is a big part of our lives and something we're trying to do and maintain and keep active, but we also have like everything else going on like everyone else does, you know. So yeah, I would appreciate the help if you guys got some suggestions. So throw that in the comments, y'all, and if it's doable, we'll work it into the plan. So I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to keep my eyes peeled for pawpaw fruits today, because I believe about now is when they should be ripe. And if I find a tree that is plentiful, I'd like to grab some and take them home to Hayden for him to try. He's been wanting to try them, and I think he even wants to make some wine out of them potentially. So but keep my eye out for them. But I don't know, like I said in the beginning, I did come out here today since it's just me and the dog, with really the intention of exploring my mind as much as I explore the trail, if not more. So who knows, I might zone out and just walk right past all of them and not think about it again till the end. But that is an intention, man. And intention is to find some pawpaws and maybe take some back to Hayden. And I think my wife would like them if I could get her to eat them. She's sketchy about eating things that you just find in the wild. So we'll see, but That's the plan. I don't typically do those types of shots because I don't really like them when I see them in other videos, like in other outdoor adventure videos. But I don't know, I thought maybe I might be able to snag me a good picture of me and Axel out of that. So I don't know if what I just did here or what I'm saying now will even make the YouTube video, but can't deny, no matter how many times I come out here, it's beautiful. There really is. This Twin Creek Metro is a beautiful hike, beautiful place to go out and visit. Twin Creek and Germantown Metro. I really do think the Twin Creek side, even though it's shorter, and I'm talking specifically the Orange Trail of each park, even though the Twin Creek side is shorter, I do think it's more challenging. I think it's harder to complete. Not that the Germantown Metro is easy. The Germantown Metro is not not an easy one. But I do think this one's more challenging, and I've done plenty of videos out here, but for anybody new or anybody who hasn't gone back and watched those or whatever, if you haven't seen those videos, I'll show you some of the hills once we get up here. I started going clockwise. No, I started counterclockwise. Wait a second. No, I'm going with the clock. So I started the trail clockwise, and that's going to take me down the big hills rather than up the big hills. And I do that for two reasons. One, first and foremost, weak bloodline. You know, I'm weak. I want to go down the hills, not up. But two, the second half of the trail is when you run alongside the river, and I like to save that for the end, especially when I have Axel with me, so that we can jump in the river and cool off if we want to. And he has plenty of, there's a nice source of water if he gets thirsty. What, you want to go look at that, bub? You act like you want to go look at it. But there's plenty of water down there. We can jump in the river and cool off if we want to. So I like to save the river until the end. Oh, he just needed to pee or something. No, he wanted to see it. He loves it, man. Y'all should have seen how excited he was this morning when I started grabbing my stuff. I initially wasn't going to bring either of the dogs because it's too difficult for me to bring both of them. Marley, although, man, Marley, in the last few months, has really turned into our dog. He's my rescue, for anybody who doesn't know. We've had him for a year now. Just in September, earlier in the month, was a year that we've had him. And probably, well, over the summer, he has really started to become our dog, you know? Not sure how old he is. I think that he's 4 to 5 years old. I think he was 3 to 4 when we got him, so now I think he's 4 to 5. But who knows, and who knows what kind of life he's had or what. But he's been a good dog the entire time we've had him. Like, as far as he's not mean or anything like that, but he's maintained like this sense of like, I don't know if I trust you yet, pretty much the entire time until over the summer that finally started to break. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, it's still not to the point where I can take him and Axel out at the same time. And it's not because they are particularly difficult to manage, but it's because, well, for one, they're Rottweilers, and people just are afraid of them. I mean, not every single person is, but the ones who are like deathly afraid of them. There's no fault of their own. Axel, like every Rottweiler I've ever had, has been the sweetest dog in the world, and they get a bad rap, man, like a lot of other breeds do. But that's one reason. So when I'm walking them out here, I could probably at this point not leash Marley, but if other people get scared or if they have dogs and they get scared, it's just a recipe for disaster because of how he's still like, I'm trying to think of how to describe it because I don't want to make him come across like he's mean or bad in any way, shape, or form. He's not, but he does still get defensive of himself. Like I joke all the time about how he spent most of his life in the clink and he learned how to hold his ground. Well, I say that jokingly, obviously, but there's also some truth to it. I believe he does kind of, when other people get around, like if they're acting fine, he'll just walk right by them. Like it's no attention. But if they start barking, like if they have a dog and their dog starts barking at us, that's when he'll start getting like, oh, I needed to defend myself. Well, that freaks people out because they don't understand a lot of times dogs in general, but especially what's referred to as power breeds, like Rottweilers and things like that. And they don't know he's a rescue. They don't know the things I know about him. So what I'm saying is it's hard to manage not because of me being able to handle or control my dogs, but because I can't handle or control the reaction or the response of others. And the last thing that I want to do is get into a situation. Man, look at that chicken of the woods. Somebody got him a nice meal. It looks like something's been eaten off of it. But the last thing in the world I want is to have to do something horrible to one of my dogs because someone else reacted poorly, you know. I had someone one time make a claim that a dog of mine attacked them when Axel, come here, Axel, when all my dog did was just be in the yard. Literally, this person just walked by the house and then made the claim that my dog attacked him. Was there a scratch or was there any contact at all? There was absolutely not. We were actually outside. It wasn't even like, like they called us or come and knocked on the door and said, look where your dog, like we're all outside and they walked by the house. I think my daughter may have even like spoken to him briefly, but then later they started making claims that my dog attacked them that day. And I'm not taking any chances with people like that. You know, I'm not gonna put my dogs at risk. So I wanted to bring them both, and I knew that was going to be too much for me to handle. So I was going to leave them both home, come out. I don't even think I was necessarily, hold on Axel, come here. I wasn't even necessarily going to hike today. I was going to just kind of go find me a place out here to sit down, do some yapping to the camera, and then go back home. So I was like, well, I'm not even really going to go on a hike. I'll leave the dogs home. Well, then as I start getting ready, I start feeling freaking bad. Not so much for Marley, because Marley is not really super into all this anyway. He likes just laying on the couch. But for Axel, because he knows what I'm getting ready to do. So when I get up on a Saturday morning and start getting my stuff together, he knows that I'm going hiking or something like that. So he just starts getting excited. So I started feeling bad, and I was like, all right, well, I'll take Axel with me and we'll come out here and do this hike. I got a little distracted there because this camera just shut off on me for some reason. So I might have lost track of my point a little bit. But yeah, I wasn't going to bring either of the dogs. I started feeling guilty, so I went ahead and brought Axel, turned this into a hike. Now I still feel a little bad for leaving Marley at home, but like I was saying, I just can't take the chance of having them both yet at this point. My hope is that throughout the fall and winter, I'll be able to bring Marley out more with us. There'll be less people out on the trails. I can bring Marley out and get him more used to being out on the trails and not chasing after squirrel, you know, don't take off after the deer and teach him those things. And then I won't have to worry so much about it, you know, going forward. But today's just not the day. That's the short of everything that I just word vomited on everybody. That grate finally gave, or somebody broke it. This is an old well, obviously. Who knows how old this is? I was about to say, I don't know where Axel went. This is an old well. Who knows how old this is? I imagine there was some homestead here at some point in history. Maybe not that long ago. But I always thought that was pretty cool. I watched a YouTube video actually once that was the title was like Germantown Metro hike or something like that. It had Germantown Metro in the title, and I was like, oh cool. I had never done this trail before, but at the time I was hiking Germantown Metro every Saturday, so I was like, oh cool, I'll watch that. And I don't know, just see what it's about. This is before I was doing YouTube, but the guys, they came across that well right there, and I'm like, well, where the hell is that? I've never seen that well. And I've been on this trail probably at this point, I don't know, to be realistic, maybe 15 times or something. 10, maybe 10, I don't know. But I'm like, I haven't been, 10 to 15 times probably. But I'm like, I've never seen that well. Where is that well at? So I keep looking and looking, and I never find it. Well, at some point, a buddy of mine tells me that his friend, actually it was freaking Jeremy, 2-word Tony, tells me that a friend of his at work hikes this trail, but he starts on hikes that trail in Germantown, but he starts on Chamberlain Road. So I'm like, I had no idea what he's even talking about. So I look it up. Well, come to find out, yeah, that's not Germantown Metro, that's Twin Creek Metro, which is why I couldn't find it when I was searching for it, because I kept looking for Germantown Metro. But anyway, so come out here, and that's when I discovered this trail. I think that channel is called Adventure Archives. Like, I know for sure that's a channel that I follow, is Adventure Archives. I'm probably 80% positive that's the video that, it was their video that I seen that well in. But anyway, that's how I ended up finding this place. And speaking earlier, I was mentioning how this seems to be the more challenging of the two trails for me. It's because of all this kind of stuff right here, which again, Germantown side has this too, but I don't know, it just seems harder on this side. I think the hills are a lot steeper here. So I'll show you once we get up here. There's some doozies ahead of us. You know, thinking about feeling the need to come out and get on like a solo hike or something lately. I really think that's something everybody needs, but I don't know how many people are willing to recognize and acknowledge that need, because being with yourself is oftentimes, for me, like one of the scariest places you can be. But because you really have to, I don't know how to talk about this stuff. You don't have to do anything, but you know, when you're alone, your mind, you know, without a lot of external stimulation from others, your mind kind of starts going inward, and you'll start thinking about things. And you know, when somebody says, I zoned out for a minute, you know, you zone out, and when that happens, you really are kind of going to a place of self-examination, which I think a lot of people are afraid of. And the reason I think that is not because, like, I think people are afraid or weak or anything. The reason I think that is because most of my life, that's what I was afraid of, was looking inward, looking at myself, and starting to understand who I am as a person. You know, for me, I was much more happy and comfortable with living my life through a personality that I constructed by often taking like the worst traits of others combined with my own compulsions and just kind of letting that be the person who drove. I was very comfortable in that state, even though it wasn't leading to a comfortable life. It was comfortable on my mind and my spirit, because I didn't have to look at myself and sort through and try to figure out who I really am. I didn't have to try to understand that, because I just kind of had this baseline belief that whoever it is that I really am isn't good enough. Whoever that person is weird and not like everybody else, not normal. So anyway, that's why I like to get out here at these moments and just be by myself, well, with myself and the Lord and my trusty companion here, because honestly it's good to have him with me, because I don't have to pay much attention to him. So I don't know if something were to happen, man, I've got somebody that ain't gonna leave my side. I could freaking, I'm telling you guys, I could, when I zone out, I don't know how like y'all zone out, but when I zone out, I'll have my eyes wide open. I might be looking at you, but I'm not seeing anything from this reality. Like when I zone out, when I really let myself sink in, I'm in a completely different place. Even though my body is walking through these woods, my eyes are open, my head is pointing straight, this is not where I'm at. So, not to scare anybody, mama or pops or papa or anybody, but I could like walk, I could twist my ankle, you know what I mean? Like if I get to really zoning out, but it's worth that risk to me to take the time to get in and into that place where I can examine myself. You know, I'm a big believer in the concept of self-study, which really was introduced to me back in like 2019 by my friend Matt. I don't want to say your last name, Matt, but you know who you are. But that was a concept he introduced me. I love you, brother. I love you, brother. And this is one of the many reasons why. But he introduced me to this concept of self-study. And it's something that when he started kind of talking about that, it was something that I was like, I didn't know what I was needing in my life at the time. I knew things were a mess and I was taking some drastic measures to get it under control, but I didn't know like what I needed. I mean, I already had faith. I already believed in God. I have a good, loving family. So I wasn't sure what was missing, and that's kind of the thing. It didn't just happen in one moment. I spent a lot of time with Matt, and we talked about a lot of things, or we talk about a lot of things when we do. So it unfolded over some time, but when I started to understand that concept of self-study, it was just like, that's what I need. Like, that's what I'm not doing. I'm not allowing myself to see myself. I don't know who I am because I haven't been allowing myself to pay attention to see who I am. You know, I've just been so convinced that whoever that is, everything I just said is not going to be accepted, is not going to be accepted by friends and family and things like that. But so yeah, so I leaned heavy into self-study, and it wasn't easy at first, and that's why that's why I say that I believe most people are afraid to do this, is because I was terrified. And even when I started to lean into it, even when I was introduced to the concept and it made sense and it clicked that this is what I need, it was worse than an uphill battle. It was more than an uphill battle. I mean, it was like an uphill battle with one broken ankle and a missing hand. Like, it was hard, you know. Like, it seemed like something that was just not doable, but I kept leaning into it and kept leaning into it, no matter how uncomfortable it was. And I believe, I hate saying I feel like, I don't know, it's a turn of phrase or whatever, but I don't feel any of these are things that I believe. that that process has worked for me, or is working for me. You know, I'm a work in progress, and I think I always will be. So I don't want to say that with, I don't want to say any of this with any hubris, like I think I've reached some pinnacle or anything. I don't. But I think the practice of self-study is what's brought me to such a better position in life than what I was in before. And it's strengthened my faith and my beliefs, which even though I have my faith and I have my beliefs, like I've challenged that faith and those beliefs as hard as probably anybody can challenge them, and through this self-study process, and it's just made them stronger, and it's instilled more conviction in me. And again, I'm not the shining example of anything. I'm not trying to make any type of claim like that, but anyway, that's what these solo journeys here out through the woods and adventures do for me, is they allow me into that space of self-study. Because when I get out with multiple people, which is what I love, I love bringing people together. I love being with like my inner circle. I love being with my inner and outer circle. I would like my outer circle to be my inner circle. I want them all in my inner circle, you know. But as much as I like to be with those people, it does demand so much of my attention that it takes me away from this self-study practice that I try to stay actively engaged in. So I've got to schedule these times for myself, or I didn't schedule this, it's just how it worked out. But something I do have to make sure is that I'm setting aside time to do things like this for myself. And again, I'm doing all this yapping because I think everybody should. I think, maybe coming out in the woods and walking around ain't your thing, but I think everybody should start learning, if you haven't already, start learning to just start learning to pay attention to yourself. You know, if you do a thing, ask yourself, just start with asking yourself a simple question, like, why did I do that? I don't know, like, even for me, like, I ask myself silly questions like, why do I eat frosted mini wheats? I like to understand who I am, but anyway, just start with something. Ask yourself simple questions, and if you allow yourself time, the answers will start coming to you. If you keep going back to that place of self-examination, recognizing things about yourself, asking questions of yourself as to, why is this? The answers will start coming to you, and I think I'm kind of talking about essentially like meditation here. If you meditate on these things, like I have a saying that you should do two things: pray and meditate. And what I tell people is, praying is talking to God, meditating is listening. So I think that if you just go to those places, ask yourself the questions, the answers will start coming, and you'll be able to start putting the pieces together of who you truly are as a person. I just think everybody should do that, or at least consider it, even though it's terrifying, which it is. But I don't know, I think no matter how horrible your situation is, if you really start to do that, you'll be pleasantly surprised as to what you find. But like I was saying, it doesn't have, I like to get out in the woods, I like to get on the river, I like nature, and again, I think for most people, if you get out and explore these things, you'll find that you do too. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be whatever your space is. Like, for example, yesterday I was over at Hayden's house, and he's been building a smokehouse. And these are things that eventually we want to start incorporating into the channel, but it's just not time for all that yet. But he's been building a smokehouse / sauna. So it's got like a bench set up in it and everything. Well, I went in there and just sat down in there by myself, and it's probably, I don't know the dimensions, Hayden will have to tell you sometime, but I think it's probably, I don't know, 5 feet long by like 3.5 foot wide or something like that, with a bench in there. So I went in there and I sat down, and when I was sitting there, Hayden was standing outside of it, and I told him, I was like, I would like to just come out here and sit in this. If I had built this in my backyard, I'd just be out here sitting in this thing sometimes, you know. Like, it's the perfect little space for that. So again, that's maybe a weird example, but like, what I'm getting at is it don't have to be the woods. You don't have to be walking, you don't have to be swimming. Actually, probably the least amount of stimulation, the external stimulation, the better. But yeah, just get out by yourself and explore. Let your mind go. Like, just ask yourself questions and start piecing together who you are, you know. That's what I do this for. And when I start feeling like I'm needing to do something like this, it's because I have started to feel a little too detached from my practice of self-study because of all the external stimulation. So anyway, there's a good however long rant that was about self-study, but hopefully it resonates with some of you. So just yapping away there. I was at the top of like the most monster hill this trail has to offer, and again, we're going down it, and a lot of times you got to be more careful going down than you do going up, because going down you've got gravity working against you, and it actually, I believe, takes more energy. I've heard other people say it too. It takes more energy to go downhill than it does up. But I'll turn around and show you guys when I get down to the bottom what this hill looks like going up it. I mean, you see how it's like curving around, and here's behind me. This GoPro levels things out and makes it hard to really tell, but I mean, I'm holding this camera as straight as I can, so like there's my hand, so you can see the grade, and I'm only 30 feet down the hill maybe, so you can see how far down I've come. And it just gets steeper and keeps going. And like I said, coming up this feels harder, but I think going down it actually takes more energy. Okay, so there's like me looking straight, my hand just pointing straight at the hill, and my hand, the tip of my fingers is probably 15 feet from, like, I don't know, the step it's pointing at, or where it looks like it might connect with the ground though. I'm probably 15 feet, so you can see how it just shoots straight up. Hey, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but this is the first video I've shot with my new GoPro. I did have to, I still have my old one. I'm getting it replaced, but the time it takes to do that was longer than I was really wanting to wait. So I went ahead and ordered a new GoPro on Amazon. And listen, if anybody is thinking about getting one for personal use, or if you want to start your own YouTube channel, if you're thinking about things like this, they have a deal on the GoPro Hero 12 Creator Edition on Amazon. I'll try to remember to put the link in the description, but it's only $400. And $400 is a lot for me. So I don't mean only, like that ain't nothing. But if this is something you're wanting to do and you want to start investing in the things to do it with, that's a hell of a deal, man. The GoPro Volta itself, which is a battery pack and a handheld remote, I mean, it's the thing I'm using right now, is like $160 or $140 on its own. The mod kit is like $50 or $60 on its own. The flashlight's $30 or $40 on its own. And then the GoPro Hero is like $300 if you buy it on its own. So you can do the math and see where that's a good deal. Plus you get like some extra doors, some extra attachments and things like that that if you ordered on their own would be, I don't even know, I'm assuming a few dollars a piece at least. So it really is a hell of a deal if this is something you guys are interested in doing. But yeah, I wanted to point that out because I hope some of you all are interested in doing something like this, starting your own YouTube channel or getting out and documenting your experiences for your own personal memory bank, you know. So yeah, check that out. There's horse boo-boo all over this trail. Yeah, man. Like even the little hills you come across there seem like they got teeth. Yeah, it's just all these little things like this. One thing I'm definitely not trying to do is down anybody who's like making YouTube videos or anything like that. So I'm only talking about my personal preference. But I genuinely just don't like it when I watch these outdoor adventure videos and they don't show any of the actual adventure, like the hard parts, you know. It's usually those scenes like, if I included in the film, in this video, the one I shot a while back that I said I don't typically shoot scenes like, where they're just walking around the bend, they set the camera down, go back, walk around the bend, come back, get the camera, and then they edit it and only show you the part of them walking around the bend. But they look all happy, energized, frolicky. But they don't show, which is fine if that's in there. But what bothers me is when they don't show like the hard parts. Like when I go on an adventure with somebody, I want to be on the adventure. So that's why I try to incorporate all this crap, like me barely being able to catch my breath right now, even though that's just because I won't shut up. But I try to share all those parts because there is a lot of challenge here, and that challenge is good for you and you should embrace it. And I just wish more people would show that side of it. But again, I'm not knocking anybody, I'm not trying to tear anybody down for how they choose to publish their content. That's just my personal preferences. I want to see the actual adventure. So that's what I try to actually show. So Axe most likely just ruined my cell phone because it's in his bag. So now I've sacrificed a GoPro and a cell phone. And I didn't want him to go down there because it's nasty and muddy. And I have a feeling it's going to be tricky for him to get out of it. Come here. Yeah, I'd say my cell phone's probably a goner. Come here. It's still on for now. I'll hold on to it for a minute and see. I hope you feel better. You're covered in mud. We'll get up here to the river and let you go swimming, buddy. I was kind of hoping, I knew better, but I was kind of hoping there wouldn't be many people out on this trail today. But it's one of the last probably nice weekends. Fall just started, so, and it's a nice day. So I knew better, but when I pulled into the parking lot, there was already like 10 cars here. I don't know if I showed them in the intro. We'll see, but yeah, I was hoping for there to be less than that. I'll tell you what, man, we've been in a drought. We had some good rain this past week where I live. We've been in a drought pretty much most of the summer. If you've been watching, ever since I stopped complaining about how it won't stop raining, it hasn't rained hardly at all. So but the reason I bring that up is that pond we were just at that Axel jumped in, that water was low. I've never seen it that low, and that was after we've gotten a pretty good amount of rain this week. So we'll see what the river's going to look like when we get there, but it'll probably be, you know, it's called Twin Creek. I imagine it will be in creek form, like severely in creek form. I know it was last time we walked through here. Yo, Bill, Robbie, if y'all watch this, those hills I was just showing back there, that's where I thought I was taking you when you came hiking with me. We're actually heading towards the parking lot where we Ubered back to the cars from, coming from the other direction. So yeah, that little snippet I just showed of the hills, that's what I thought you were in store for on that hike you went on with me. So when you come back, that's what you're gonna see. That's what you're gonna have to take on. But anyways, yeah. I just hit this little patch where it's like it almost looks like nighttime, like it's nighttime over here compared to the rest of the trail I've been on so far. It just looks freaking cool. Yeah, like I said, it's fall, and the leaves, when you see, the leaves are all starting to fall, and most of the canopy is thinned out enough, I think, to where it's just not this dark where it is in this spot. But there's still some pretty thick canopy right here. So aside from where the light is directly shining through, like the shadowy spots are much darker here than they've been up until this point. Or the caffeine's kicking in, I'm starting to wake up. One of the two things is true. And here is the monster. So y'all see that hill over there, right? You see that? This we're equally as high, but it's a much sharper slope down. So again, it's funny. I think, you know, the mind is a powerful thing. I think when you're at the bottom looking up, it makes the challenge harder, just because it visually looks hard, as to where going down just, it doesn't seem like it would be harder. But I really truly do think that it is harder to go down the hills than it is up. I think it takes more energy. But yeah, so I don't know, man. People comment, tell me what y'all think. If y'all are hikers and you get out and do this stuff, tell me what you think. But man, when you come walking up towards this, it is super imposing. Super imposing. And I can't remember if me and Hayden did climb that hill right there. I think we have. I think we did, and I think we cooked breakfast or something maybe over there. I don't know. We've been all over this place, so it's hard to say. But yeah, man, these are freaking tough hills. This trail is so covered in horse crap. I've never seen it like this. Yeah, man, look at this, guys. Even Axel's like being super cautious. It's actually, I think, easier to go down in the trench here. Yeah, there's horse shit everywhere. I have not spent 1 second looking for pawpaws. Axel, here. Here. Although I think I just found some pawpaw trees, but I'm not seeing any fruits. I think those are the pawpaw trees. Come here, Ax. But yeah, I don't see any fruits anywhere. So maybe I'm too late. Yeah, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but I think these are the pawpaw trees. Also, I mean, maybe I'm not late as far as season goes, but these, I mean, these are right on the trail. I feel like last time I was here, there was some laying down. Yeah. I don't know. I'll try to keep it in mind to look again. I'll tell you one thing that is nice about the fact that there was already a bunch of people out here on the trails when I got here is I think I've only walked through one spider web so far. So they've been clearing them out for me. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, I think these are... Now, people who know what they're talking about might go, that's a completely different tree than the one you just were looking at. It might, I don't know. It might be, but I think these are the pawpaw trees. Stopping here at a little bench to take a drink break and check my phone, and good news, it doesn't look like it sustained any damage from the water, so it must have not gotten in the pocket. It's still working, but let's see. I'm tracking, so we've done 3.75 miles so far, and it's taken me 1 hour and 43 minutes. And I started that like as I was I started the tracker when I was putting the backpack and stuff on axle, so you could probably take 10 minutes out of that. But to give you an idea of how much footage I include in my videos, this entire hike should probably only take about 3 hours. I'm gonna stop and do some yapping, so it might take a little bit longer, but the entire hike will only be like, say, 3 to 3.5 hours at most. So you'll see how long the video is. It might be a 2-hour long video. Who knows how much I end up talking, but it'll give you an idea of how much, like how raw it really is. You know what I mean? Like how much I really am incorporating of the entire adventure. I don't know why I was keeping the camera on the phone there. I was just looking at it, but how much of the entire trip I include in the video. So, I mean, I've been out here 1 hour and 43 minutes. Now I bet you I've already got an hour's worth of footage. So the rest of the time is just me walking quietly, thinking. You know, speaking of like walking quietly and thinking, how many of y'all out there are visual thinkers? This is a thing that I didn't even know existed until just a few years ago, but meaning that you don't really think in words. I mean, you might rationalize and process logically in words, but as far as your ideas and like your beliefs and things, do your thoughts come to you in words, or do you visualize? Me, I'm a very visual thinker. Seldom do words ever pop into my head. I usually have to make my own, and the reason I'm saying that's why I talk so freaking much. But that's why I talk so much, because when my mind is just letting loose and I'm thinking, when I'm in that other place I was telling you guys about earlier, I've got to then start deconstructing the visions that I see into language that even I can understand. So that's why I talk so much, man. That's why I treat this camera like it's you, you know, you watching this right now. I talk to this camera like it's you, like you're here with me, and that's why I want the videos for you to feel like you're here with me. Because if I don't talk out the things that pop up in my head, then chaos erupts, because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I'm even thinking about. I don't know what my own beliefs are. This goes into what I was saying earlier about self-study and understanding who you are. But yeah, that's why I yap so much. That's why I talk so much. I don't think that I know anything. I don't think I got anything figured out. I'm not here to point in any direction and tell like you that's the way to go. It's just what I have to do to make sense of my own world, you know. So I don't know. Again, just out here thinking about things, and that's something that my need to talk so much is something I felt compelled to talk about. So funny, I'm just walking away from that bench where I was just chilling for a second, and I turned around because I thought I forgot my water bottle back there. And I didn't, it's in my backpack. But then I turned back around, and it's just right over that hill. It's 50 yards away from the bench. But then I turn around, and right here in the middle of the trail is someone else's water bottle that they obviously did forget. So if that's your bottle, somebody who watches this video, there it is, 3.75 miles into the Twin Valley Metro Orange Trail, starting from Chambersburg, going, I think, clockwise, but definitely starting at the trailhead on the left, not the right. And you will find your water bottle. In the off chance that you ever come across this video. It looks and smells like they must have come through here and mowed for the first time in quite a while recently. Because there are big old clumps of grass laying everywhere, and it smells like fresh cut grass mixed with pine needles through here. Wouldn't it be cool if you could incorporate the smells into the videos? That would be awesome if you could do that. We're probably not far from a day when that's an actual thing. I've heard of things like alarm clocks that release the scent of bacon and stuff like that. So they've already been toying with ideas like that for quite a while. So I bet you mark my words, we're not far from a day when you watch a video like this, there will be TVs capable of producing the aromas and cameras capable of capturing them somehow. This is something that's coming, you watch. Yeah, man, the thing about that backpack on him is, I mean, it's a good backpack, but he drank half a bottle of water that's in the left side. And now just taking out that half a bottle of water has changed the weight so drastically that it's like hanging way too far on the right. I'm gonna have to adjust that. We're coming up on the parking lot. Actually, Bill, Robbie, we're coming up on the parking lot where we ended the hike last time you guys came out here. So it's the EB Road trailhead for Twin Creek Metro is where we'll be at here in just a few minutes. But I'm gonna have to get that readjusted, move some things around a little bit, because I know that would drive me nuts. I'm sure it's driving him nuts. All right, Bill and Rob, shooting this shot right here specifically for y'all. So yeah, we're coming into the parking lot where we ended that hike you went on with me from the other direction. So we came from up there and left from here, but everything I thought I was taking you into is from this point on. I swear, for some reason that day, I was thinking those hills and everything were before we got to this parking lot, but don't think you've been spared, because this is where I'm bringing you on our next hike, and we're doing the hard stuff. We're doing the hard stuff, y'all. I'm gonna take me a little break here at this shelter with this beautiful view behind me and the sun shining on my back, to do some more talking. So some I've been thinking about, not just while I've been hiking today. I've been thinking about a lot of things while I've been hiking today, but something I've been thinking a lot about lately by lately, I guess I mean the last several years, is I've been and this is all going to tie into this all, I guess, kind of ties into the self-study thing and everything. But something I have really been focused on over the last few years of my life is there's a passage in the Bible, "Be still and know that I am God." I'll have to look it up and see what actual verse that is, and I'll tell you. But I've been thinking a lot about that verse over the several years, and like over these past several years, and what does that mean? And I think that it's not overcomplicated. I think that it's as simple as what it says: "Be still and know that I am God." It's Psalm 46:10. "Be still and know that I am God." Let's see what the whole verse says. I don't know how much signal I have out here, so we'll see. This is a website that just wants to sell me Bibles. You know, I actually just got a Bible for my backpack, and I meant to put it in there this morning, but I was kind of just throwing my stuff together real quick, and of all things to forget, I forgot that. But anyway, Psalm 46 verse 10, he says, "Be still and know that I am God." And I think it is as simple as those words. And the way I've been trying to incorporate that over the last several years of my life is I've been trying to listen to what God is telling me and understand the different ways in which God communicates with me, which I think is there's a lot of ways he communicates with me, but I think, like, first and foremost is through your interests, not your compulsions, not like self-serving things, but like through things that genuinely interest in you, that like spark and interests, like things that you want to understand more, and just kind of pursuing those interests and following them to whatever doors they lead to and whatever doors they open. That's a big one for me, is interest. So I never plan these conversations out, guys, so I'm trying to again figure out how I want to word this story that I'm going to tell you. But the way I've been incorporating that into my life is just trying to do that, trying to follow my interests, pursue them, make sure that these just aren't like devious compulsions that I want to do, but things that this for self-interest, and not necessarily setting goals for myself anymore, which I know sounds crazy, but I'm trying to take my hands off the wheel and not necessarily set the goals for myself anymore, but just follow those pursuits, those passions, and things like that. One of the ways that I think that this has paid off, not that I think, that I know this has paid off, and where I'm actually seeing like God at work, is through my career. I kind of have to talk about myself somewhat to make this all make sense, and this is where the self-study thing comes into play. But in my personal life, and anybody who knows me knows this, and I don't know, I couldn't tell you exactly why it is, but I'm kind of somebody that people like to go to for advice, or when they need guidance or encouragement or advice. I'm that person for a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people in my life that the only time I hear from them is when they're needing something like that, which is okay, because I love, didn't know where my dog was for a minute. I love being that person in other people's lives. I love that people feel comfortable to call me, tell me their stories, let me know what's going on with them. Axel, come here. Come here. He wants to keep on walking. But I love being that person for people. And it's something that's always been. I tried to avoid it for a long time. I had myself convinced that I hated people, and I never truly did. I actually love people. I love talking to people, and I love it when people talk to me. But it just got to be a lot, so I tried to drown it out. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I've always kind of been that person that people like to come to for advice, encouragement, guidance, just someone to listen to them talk. Well, in my career life, I work in supply chain, or I have worked in supply chain my entire adult life, pretty much since the time I was 20 years old. So for 27 years, I had become miserable. I'd become miserable in my position. Not necessarily any one person's fault that I became miserable in my position. It's just in my role, it became harder and harder to be impactful, and you became, like, when I started in supply chain, you were very much a driver of the vehicle, as to where in today's world, and it's not, trying not to be critical of the company I work for, because this is I don't think this is exclusive to them, but that's not really what organizations want out of their supply chain people anymore. They want cogs in the machine, basically. They want you to click your buttons and do what the system tells you. And that's just not me. That's not fulfilling to me. So I've not been happy in my career for probably the last 4 or 5 years. And I probably talked about this before, but I was convinced I was getting fired. Like, at any moment, like anytime my phone rang or I got an instant message from my boss, my first thought was like anxiety induced. Oh, this is it. I thought I was getting fired. Well, one point about a year ago, well, it's been not quite a year ago, actually. Probably 10 months ago, say almost a year. I finally got to the point where I started inquiring about other jobs. I had been having conversations with my family, with my wife, Lynn, with my daughter, Jalen, my son-in-law, John. I've been talking to them about if living situations needed to change for a while, if I needed to take a pay cut. I had already decided that I would be willing to take a $20,000 pay cut if I had to get out of the role I was in. So I started kind of setting the groundwork to do exactly that, to take a pay cut. And yeah, so I'd already laid the groundwork, and I then just started. This happened one day, and then this other thing happened the next, but I'd started inquiring about other jobs, say on a Monday. I called around and talked to some people and inquired. And then on a Tuesday, I don't know if those are the real days, but on a Tuesday, the very next day, I get a call from my boss, and who I love. If you ever watch this, I love you to death. I love you so much. I hope you know that. But she calls me, and she calls me because a position had come open. Actually, let me back up. That was about 10 months ago that this happened. But probably a year before that, another position opened up in supply chain, which was a production scheduling position, which is what really I'm good at. That's where I started. So I was considering putting in for it. So I spoke with my boss about that. And I needed to get my resume put back together. I don't know whatever happened to the one that I had, but I needed to rebuild my resume and stuff. And as I started to work on those things, I kept getting this overwhelming feeling inside of me that this role as a production scheduler isn't going to make my situation any better. It was just going to change the title, the responsibility, but it wasn't going to make my lack of a sense of fulfillment and things like that. It wasn't going to settle those. And then it kind of went beyond that also, this feeling I had was, if I were to apply for this position and take this position, that I'm somehow moving out of the spot where I am needed the most right now, where God wants me to be. And again, it takes time for me to unpack all those thoughts. And I told you earlier, I'm a visual thinker. So through many hikes and solo hikes and things like that, and talking to myself out in the woods without a camera, just looking completely crazy probably, I started to like sort these things out, and through prayer and meditation and all that. But I had this overwhelming feeling that the moving into this new role, even though it might provide some temporary relief, it's not the direction I was supposed to move in. It's not where God wanted me to be, that God needed me to stay the course. I was with the people that needed me the most at the time, and with the people that I needed the most at the time too. So I don't want to make it like, again, I'm talking about me and my experience and self-study, and sometimes that might come across as like boastful or prideful. I can assure you, I'm not proud of who I am. I'm happy I am who I am. I actually wouldn't trade it for the world, but I'm not necessarily proud because I haven't always behaved well. But anyway, so I got this overwhelming feeling that I was supposed to stay put. And eventually, my boss calls me and asks me if I had decided to put in for that role or not, because she hadn't heard anything, and I told her no, and that I felt like I was where I was needed at the time being. So I stuck it out. I went against like what my head was telling me, what my desires, what my compulsions wanted me to do, and I went with what I was feeling in my gut, which is what was interesting to me. That's the interest I'm talking about. I've got this overwhelming feeling I'm interested in. I need to understand it more. I need to unpack it. And so I stayed put. So time goes on, and I'm not getting necessarily any happier in the role that I'm in. But looking back now, I understand in hindsight why God wanted me where I was. But time goes on. I'm not really getting any happier. Things aren't really getting better for me as far as my satisfaction with the work that I do. So now we get to the point where I do all the groundwork, and I get to the day where I start inquiring about other jobs. The next day, my boss, that same boss who I had spoken to, say, a year prior about this other role, she calls me, just wanted to know if I have a minute to chat. And I do. So she calls me, and the reason she called me was this new role was opening up. And it was, in our organization, the role is called a super user, but it's kind of it's not an IT job, but I mean it kind of is. We're training people on our MRP system, which is called SAP. People watching this, some of you are going to be familiar with it for sure. But our company is switching over from one MRP system to the new one, which is SAP. And you're basically a support person. You do the training. When people get stuck or they don't know how to do something, you're the person they call. You're the guru, so to speak. So she tells me that this job is opening up, and that she thinks that I'm the guy for it. She says you would excel in this role. This is what you need to do. Well, here's the thing. I am not technically skilled at all. Like I'm not at all. I've talked about this in videos before. This YouTube thing here, I have to learn every time I do something new. If you see a new little edit thing in one of my videos or anything, I learned to do that day as I was editing. Like I'm literally having to learn in real time everything that I do, because I don't know. I'm just not a technically skilled person. I'm not a detail-oriented person. I'm much more of a big picture type thinker. I need help getting into the granular details of anything. So I told her, I said, that sounds interesting, but I don't think that I'm the guy. I don't have the skills for this, And she essentially told me, she said, it's not the skills that make you perfect for the job. It's who you are. It's your personality. You're what's needed in this role. You'll learn the job if you're interested. You'll learn what you need to learn, and you'll do well at it. She was very encouraging to me, So I was like, well, this does sound interesting. I think I gave her that. I said, I'm definitely interested. I'd like to know more. So she sets up a call between myself, her, and the person with the job opening, who is my current boss. she sets up a call between the three of us. I'm trying not to use names because I don't know. I just don't want to use people's names without their permission. But she sets up a call with the three of us to discuss what the role is. And it's a funny call because I tell, basically it's the same conversation just with the new manager, but I tell her, I said, this sounds very interesting to me. I went through the interview process as you would get, like it was an interview process, like it wasn't, it was more of a discussion, but I went through it like it was an interview process. I discussed who I am, basically my worldview, my philosophy, how I see the job and how I think things should be done. I did the sell myself approach. But like not really, because I kept telling her over and over again, I lack the technical skills that I feel like are required for this job. And it's so bizarre because she kept telling me that's okay. And I'm like, essentially think of this as an IT role. Okay. I'm telling the person who's asking me if I'm interested in this job that I don't have computer skills, and their response back is it's okay. And so I tell her like, well, I'm telling her, I like challenge. That's another reason I wasn't real happy in the job. I wasn't feeling challenged anymore either. And I like to feel challenged. I don't like comfort. We've probably talked about that if you've been with me for a while. I don't like being in comfortable positions. I know that sounds weird, a lot to unpack there, but I liked the challenge of the idea of the role. I liked the fact that the job is being a person that people call on for help, because that aligns with part of my personality. This is why I brought this up earlier. That aligns with a part of my with who I am as a person, like my real life. So yeah, I told her that I was interested, but it was like the whole time I might as well have been just shaking my head. No, like I'm not, telling her like, don't do this. I'm not the guy. Like, don't do this. And she kept telling me it's okay. So I think we had maybe I know we had at least one more call where we kind of discussed the job, and it was the same type of thing. I kept saying, I'm not good at this. She kept saying that's okay. And then we had, either a third or fourth call where she actually called and offered me the job. And I just accepted it right away. Now in my head, this whole time, I am terrified. So it's like the opposite of that production scheduler job. The production scheduler job, my head is telling me this is right. This is where you want to be. This is where you should go. This is what's going to make you happy. But my gut, my instincts, my interests, my spirit was telling me, don't do it. Stay where you're at. This is where you're needed at this moment in time. This was the opposite of that. This was my head telling me, don't do this. You're going to fail. You can't learn this system. You're never going to be able to understand the intricate details well enough to teach them to somebody else. But my gut, like everything else inside of me, was saying, this is the direction you're supposed to go. And that's, again, getting back to, I feel like that's how God speaks through me the loudest. So I did it. I took the job. I accepted the role. Terrified. I need you to understand. Terrified. I'm still terrified. I'm only 8 months or so into this role. 7 months maybe, into this role. Well, I get into she hires me into the role. Then we start getting into like the projects and stuff. And the first thing she does, I'm trying to make a long story as short as I possibly can. The first thing that she does is she wants me to start creating SOPs for how the new inventory planners who are coming on board to the new system will operate. Like SOPs for all of the transactions within the system that they're going to use on a daily basis. Not necessarily on a day, but they're going to use, period. She wants me to create SOPs. So what did I just say? Like, I don't know how this system works. I don't know the details. I know what buttons to click to do my job every day, but I don't know the system. And she puts me in charge of SAPs. So I'm thinking, like, are you not listening to me? Like, you think I'm like exaggerating? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking like, what's, not angrily or anything like that, but I'm just thinking like, you heard me, right? I told you I'm not the guy for this. So because I'm expecting like SOPs to be given to me and like walk through, but no, she puts me in charge of creating the SOPs. Well, I start creating the SOPs. Shortly after I start creating the SOPs, it's time to start scheduling training sessions with the planners that are coming on board to this new system, because this is happening fast too, y'all. I mean, this is happening fast. Like, it's starting in 5 weeks now from now, and like I just got hired into this role back in March, so that's a very short amount of time. So I got to start scheduling these training sessions. So now I'm creating SOPs and conducting training sessions, and I have help. I have a partner that does most of the heavy lifting on the training session, so don't get me wrong there. But I'm having to carry my weight too, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm freaking doing here. Well, anyway, as time goes on, I keep thinking about these things, and the deeper I get into the role, I'm starting to feel happy again with the work that I do. You know, I had a one-on-one call with my boss just last week, I think, where she was asking me, like, how am I feeling? And I told her, I genuinely believe, I 100% believe that, here, Axel, come here. Stay over here. There's people walking up, so I'm going to grab a hold of him real quick. So anyway, so I told her, I said, I think I am happier than I have ever been in any role since I've worked with this company, because I genuinely am. I love being that person that people call for help. Again, that for the first time in my professional career, or for the first time in my life, my professional career is in line with what my actual life is like. You know, I am now getting paid to be that person for people to call when they need guidance, advice, help, encouragement. People sometimes call me just, I don't think they call me just to vent, but people call me and sometimes it's a lot of venting, you know? So for the first time in my life, I don't know why I said adult life, in my life period, my career is coming in line with who I am as a person. I'm getting paid for it. Well, then I started thinking about how I didn't know this system and how I kept telling them that I didn't know this system, that I'm not the person. And I started thinking about how the first thing she had me do was start creating SOPs. And all of a sudden, it hit me. I see what she did there. Good morning. Where I was thinking she wasn't listening to me when I was telling her I didn't know the details, I didn't understand the intricate details and all that, where I thought she wasn't listening when she put me in charge of creating all these SOPs, it was actually the exact opposite. She was listening. Not only was she listening, she was listening intently, and she put it into practice. She heard me talk about not wanting to get comfortable. That's something I told her multiple times, keep me outside of my comfort zone. That's where I want to be. She heard me saying that I don't understand the intricate details of this system well enough to teach them. She put those things together, whether it was a conscious idea that she was cognizant of, or if it's just in the way that she's wired to think. Either way, she made that connection and gave me that assignment. And through my assignment of creating the SOPs, I had to learn this freaking system's intricate details so that I could teach them. It's like one of the most incredible displays of leadership I've seen in like 20 years, like at least 20 years. Like it's brilliant, you know. So anyway, so I had that realization. I see what she did there. Hey, my boss, if you ever watch these videos, I know we talked about this already, but I see what you did there, and it blows my mind. So the point of all this is not to talk about, and you know, I will say it though, like, since I've been doing these training sessions, since I've been in this role, I'm getting so much like positive feedback from people, so many like shout outs and meetings and thank yous, and I like even had people, like, literally I've had more than one person tell me, like, you're the only thing that's helping me keep my head straight. through this process, because trust me, this is a heavy lift. This, I don't know if y'all know what MRP systems are, and it's basically the computer program that runs the business. You know, tells you what to order, when, how people get paid. It's all those things. This is a heavy lift. So changing from one to another, man, that's no easy task, especially when you've got your everyday job that you still got to get done while you're learning all this new stuff and going through all this training and having to do all these homework assignments. You know, I've had people tell me I'm the only thing that is helping them keep their heads together, and it's like, this is I don't know. I'm happier than I could have ever imagined being in a career. I thought I was going to have to leave and just do my own thing and risk everything, you know. But the point being, not about how good I am at something. That's not it. This is hard work, and it's just coming together. But this is the result. What I'm trying to say is, everything that I'm laying out here, the happiness, the sense of fulfillment in my new role, all these things I'm talking about are the result of me making a conscious effort for simple terms, of letting go and letting God. I stopped setting my own goals. I stopped saying I am going to do this or I'm going to be that, and I started saying I am going to follow my feet to wherever they lead me, and I'm going to let God be the guide. And this is where it's taking me. Not only did it land me in a position that provides fulfillment for me, but it equipped me with the tools and the knowledge and the education and the right people around me to make sure that I'm successful in it, and that I'm not just able to just do it, but that I'm able to excel at it and do well. So I don't know where to go with the conversation from there, but yeah, when I started letting go and letting God and just following my interests, listening and asking myself the questions through the process of self-study, through prayer and meditation, finding out understanding who I am as a person. When I started doing that and like really taking it on, like really putting my energy into climbing that hill, the things just continue to like come into alignment, and it's just it's amazing. And I want to share that with people. Like, I really want to share that with people, because I'm so grateful to God, for one. Like, I trusted God, I put my faith and my trust in God, I let go, and it is landing me exactly where not only do I feel like I'm supposed to be, but also where I want to be. And I could have never done that on my own. I know the person, I mean, the role that I originally applied for, I know the person who took that role. I don't know how happy he is or isn't in the role. We haven't spoken about it or anything like that, but I do know, as I've watched, that role is tough, that is crazy. So if I would have just made my own decisions and followed what my own thoughts, desires, and compulsions were telling me, there's no way for me to prove this, obviously, but I don't believe I would be any happier today than I was then. But just letting go, being still and knowing, be still and know that I am God, being still and knowing that God is God, and listening for his voice in whatever way it's presented, this is where it's taken me. And I'm happier in my career. I'm happier in my life than I've ever been, you know, in general, but I'm happy in my career. I'm happier than I've ever been. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and yeah, I'm grateful for it. So anyway, that's my 20 or 30 minute, I don't know how long was I just talking, 29 minutes. There's my 30-minute rant about letting go and letting God. That's my testimony and my real life example of how that works and how that plays out if you let it. So take that for whatever it's worth. To anybody who stayed long enough to listen, let go, let God, man. Always give the glory to God, give the gratitude to God. Look at life as a gift. Look at life as the sacred gift that it is. I think that's the reason that it's important that we give thanks and that we are grateful and that we show gratitude and that we praise God. I don't think it's because God is some narcissist who needs us to flatter him all the time. I think I think it's necessary so that we remember for ourselves that life is a very precious and sacred gift. And if we just open ourselves up and fully allow ourselves to receive it, it gets better than you can ever imagine. My life is so good. My wife is amazing. You guys have seen my family. You've met my family at this point. You've met my closest friends. They're the best. I love them. I love you all so much. I would stack my friends and family against anybody's because they're almost too good to be true, you know? So let go and let God, man. Be grateful, show gratitude, and just know that it's real, and He's here to take care of you and guide you if you let Him. So anyway, there's 30 minutes of that for you. I'm gonna get to hiking and try to knock the rest of this out so I can get home and get ready for this show tonight. It's 10:30. I've been at this now for, let's see, I've been at this now for 2 hours and 35 minutes. I probably got an hour to the end if I bust it straight out, but I am going to stop and let Axel swim at least for a little bit. So yeah, we're going to get on down the trail. We're 4.5 miles in. Guys, this dog is just such a good freaking dog, man. People have been walking by, running by, jogging by. He just stands there and watches. I don't have to, I almost don't have to pay attention to him at all, man. It really is like I was talking earlier. It's other people that worry me. Axel, is you ready, boy? He's like, I've been ready, man. You up there talking about nothing forever. Come on. Yeah. This is such a beautiful view right here, man. I love this view right here. I'm gonna try to get a good thumbnail out of it. It's just hard to say what's gonna be a good one because I can't really see. But yeah, maybe that'll be it. I want Axel in it, but who knows? I don't know. I always feel goofy making these thumbnails. I'm not a... It's so weird I'm even doing this YouTube thing. I don't take selfies. I don't know. I'm not the guy that... if I knew me, I would have not expected me to have started doing this. But yeah, he wanted to go. Now he just wants to smell whatever peed right there. Yeah, that creek is down. We'll go see how different it is. I mean, you guys have seen me kayak through here. Again, if you've been following, you've seen me kayak exactly through this spot several times over the summer. So you'll be able to see the difference when we get down here. Yeah, that water's really, really low. There'd be no kayaking through here now. Yeah, you usually can't even really come down here. Wow. Look at all those rocks. Yeah, that water is low. How's it feel, buddy? How's it feel? Boy, that's beautiful though, ain't it? Axel. There are a bunch of snakes out here on these rocks. They might have heard us coming and skedaddled. Yeah, man. Kayak through here a bunch of times this summer. Did not have to negotiate through them rocks, I can tell you that. We floated right over them. God, we'd be dragging all through here. So yeah, man. I'll tell you what, this summer has been like the best summer I've had since I think 2020. 2020 is like the best summer I feel like I've ever had in my life. And 2025 was a close second. The only maybe thing that made 2020 better is I think I got to spend more time with more people, as to where 2025 is. I did several solo things in 2025. Like I never did that back then, but I guess that being the difference. But yeah, 2025 has been awesome, man. Summer's great, and people think I'm crazy, but I'm ready for fall, and I'm even more ready for winter. I think I kayaked. Well, I can tell you for sure I went on 30 kayaking trips at a minimum, probably a few more than that. So I definitely didn't short myself on experiences over the summer. I also got in some hiking trips, got in some festivals. We went to Myrtle Beach. Y'all hopefully, well, not hopefully, but maybe you've been watching those videos. That's totally up to you. But went to Myrtle Beach. I mean, it's been an awesome freaking summer. Spent a lot of time with my daughter and her husband, and got to reconnect with people I haven't seen in a long time. So it's been a wonderful summer, but I'm ready for winter, man. I'm ready for fall, and I'm ready for winter. That's when I'm ready to get back hiking and back out in the woods. I like the cold weather when I'm doing that stuff. I run hot, you know, I'm always hot, so I get out in the cold weather and I feel great, man. I just layer up and I feel awesome. So I can't wait, man. There's some awesome adventures coming. I can't tell you exactly what they're going to be. I mean, I do have some things planned out, but I can't tell you exactly what all they're going to be. But I can tell you this is going to be an awesome fall and winter, y'all. I can tell you that. And I appreciate anybody who's been coming along, man, and continues to join along in the journey. I'm up to like 402 subscribers. Again, I've said this before, that's probably not a lot, but to me it is. Like, I didn't expect to grow any subscribers or have people really commenting on my videos or watching along. I thought some family members would tune in, and that's really all I was really expecting and doing it for. But so it's awesome, man. It's awesome that people have been joining. I appreciate it. It's cool growing the channel. Like, share, subscribe. You know, I should probably start throwing those things in more often. But yeah, if you feel so compelled, man, like, share, subscribe. Let's keep this thing going. We'll keep the adventures rolling. I mean, if I lost all my subscribers, I'd still keep making videos and posting them. But growing it helps. It makes it feel good. It adds a sense of accomplishment. So yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate anybody who's subscribed, and if you clicked and watched 3 minutes, 30 seconds, I don't, you know, whatever interaction you've had with the channel, I appreciate it. I want everybody to know that. And when I get to 500, I am going to give away my cast iron skillet. So if you want to help me get to 500, I'm going to do some type of contest once I get there, and to celebrate that. So yeah, help out, man. Help out. Like, share, subscribe. There's a little interesting little fungus village. Maybe we'll catch some Smurfs running around if we keep the camera on it long enough. Here's the spot. Take this jacket. Axel, come here. Take this jacket off of him and let him actually do some swimming for a second. Come here, buddy. Guess I can take my backpack off too. So again, anybody who's been watching, if you remember this spot, I mean, the water was up to like where that grass is. This is where me and Hayden would pull off in our kayaks, and we'd run up the trail and up over that way to check out the blackberries. So yeah, this water's down 4 feet, and that's with a week's full of rain. Yeah, you couldn't walk through here. Just just gonna follow him, see what he wants to do for a little bit. The trip's been all about me so far, so we give him his freedom here and let him enjoy as well. Yeah, and this is still kayakable, but getting to it is another story. But man, yeah, this water was all the way, I mean, it should be, but just a couple months ago, I mean, it was all the way up here. Go ahead, buddy, get swim, good play. He just keeps walking. Maybe because I keep walking, I guess. I don't know, man. As he's gotten older, like, he's playing less and less on his own in the water, and he's more like, if I'm in it, then he acts just like he always did. But if I don't get in it, he's just not sticking to it like he used to. I mean, he used to just always go hard at it, whether anybody else was in the water or not. Now it's like he likes to have some company. But he's just walking down the rock, this little rock beach here. Yeah, so again, if you guys remember, me and Hayden were looking for artifacts right here just a couple months ago, and we had to wade through the water all the way across the river, and we even did some digging right there in the middle. So yeah, man, this water is down. That is wild. There he goes. It's funny. I tell him to go play. Now he heard me. But I tell him to go play, and then he's like, okay, cool, I'll go play. But up until I don't think I had that on camera, but up until I tell him to go play, he would go in and he'd come right back. Now he's actually playing. There he goes. See how he like checks in? Yeah, see, does those quick little check-ins, then he goes right back at it. That's Axel. Want to let him wear himself out so he's tired and doesn't bully Marley the whole time we're gone tonight. He still is quite the bully. That's another thing that makes it hard bringing them both out if I'm by myself. If I don't have somebody that can like grab Axel for me for a second, because sometimes I do kind of got to separate them, because Axel just tries to dominate him with every step he takes. If I don't have somebody to help me with that, man, it makes it really, really hard. And then you start factoring in, and this, guys, this could be a me problem. This is the type of thing my brain does. But then you start factoring in like encounters with other people, and then other people who have dogs. Like just a minute ago, walking to this spot, we passed to a family that was leaving this spot with their dog, and their dog was not acting mean or aggressive outside of, he was just barking at Axel. If I had Marley and Axel in that moment to try to keep under control, it gets very, very difficult. So anyway, yeah, so Axel bullies Marley, so I'm hoping he wears himself out and sleeps most of the night and leaves Marley some peace while we're gone. And if anybody's got any advice on that type of thing, I've gotten it way more under control than it used to be. But my method is if I see it, if I witness it, that just whatever it is Axel's doing to Marley, I then do to Axel. So if, like, for instance, Axel will try to block the food so that Marley can't get to the food to eat. So when I see that happening, what I'll do is I'll go and I'll grab the food and put it where Marley can get it, and then I'll stand and be the block between Axel and Marley. Well, Axel, Marley, and the food, you know? And that's really gotten it down to where it's not intense like it was, but it's still perpetual is the problem. Even though it's like light, like it's such a mild thing that, like, someone who don't have dogs wouldn't even pick up on it. You know, they probably wouldn't even pick up on it. But if you've had dogs, especially like I've had Rottweilers for almost 30 years, about 20, I guess 25 years or so. So I know their mannerisms. I know how they behave. And yeah, it's just perpetual. So if anybody's got any advice outside of or better than what I just said, you know, I just make sure that if I'm there and I'm witnessing it, that I put Axel in his place by doing the same thing to him that he does to Marley. Please post it in the comments. I'd love to hear it, and if there's a way I can, like, really break this for good, where he just doesn't bully him at all, man, that'd be ideal. So let me know, y'all. All right, final stretch back to the car. Axel got his fill of swimming. We met some nice people, and moving on. So yeah, right here is which I just turned the camera on, like almost at the beginning of walking up from that spot I was just at. And now we're where we were harvesting blackberries. You relax for a minute, then walking up those hills seem even harder. Yeah, this was all grown up when me and Hayden were here. And they've cut a lot of it down. I bet they had to, because so much of this bank has washed away in the last year or two that it's almost hard to believe. Like, this has come back quite a bit this way. You'll see, I'll show you this bench up here. It literally has like 2 feet left in front of it before it's like you're dropping off the edge. If they haven't moved, taken it out already. It's like right beside a kind of a bush like that. Right here, you've only got 8 feet, probably, maybe 6. I bet if I lit, that's like 6 to 8 feet before the drop off right there. Man, one time I was walking through here and I had Axel like this, and I seen these people up ahead of me, and I could tell they had a dog. So we started getting up closer to them, and they're like pulling the dog. They're actually like right up there, and they were pulling the dog over into like a little cutout like this. I don't think there's another bench up there, but into a little cutout like that off the side. But I couldn't like tell, like it looked weird, because I mean you can kind of see it right there probably, like I don't know, right there. But it looked like they were like laying down. And so as I get up there, I realized they've got this pit bull, and this dog is going so crazy that it took, I think there was 3 of them, all holding the dog down by laying on top of it to keep it under control. And this is just a real experience. I'm not down at anybody. They might have just picked this dog up at the rescue, you know what I'm saying, that day, and are taking it out to give us some exercise. I have no idea what the story was, but it just sucked that that's what it took for them to control that dog, you know, is to lay down. And Axel was just like that. I mean, he was attentive to the situation as we walked by. He didn't want to take his eye off the dog, understandably. Nobody did, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not telling that story to down those people, because like I said, they might have just picked that dog up at the rescue that morning. I don't know, you know, who knows how they treat that dog. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I have no idea, but the experience, though, it did make me sad that that's what it took. And I don't know, I guess I just felt like sharing that. I mean, I guess I should elaborate some more on what I mean. Like, the reason it made me sad was not because I automatically assume the people are bad or anything like that. What makes me sad is knowing that whatever that dog's life story is has led to him behaving in that way. And that's what makes me sad. The people may be saints. They may have been the only they may have been the only family that was willing to take that dog before the pound had to put it down or something. So I definitely want to be clear that I'm not in any way trying to assign blame to the people that were trying to control the dog. The sadness it makes me feel comes from just, you know, what was the dog's life story to get him to that point, because I don't believe dogs are just born that way. They're like people. Some of them are wired a little differently. Some of them are I'm going to use the word aggressive, but I don't mean that as in like bitey. But some are more aggressive than others. Some are more docile. They're like people, but when they become uncontrollable, there's a life story behind that, and that's what makes me sad. Is it just made me start thinking about that. This is what it's really like. This is the last hill of the hike. Last big hill. And I just want to start a new life right here. I don't want to go any further. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go forward. I just want to live right here. But ain't that a good analogy for life in general? That spot where I just stood still, that was comfort. That was comfortable. And that type of comfort is easy to get attached to. It'll call out to you. And when you don't want to move forward or backwards, and you just let yourself be stuck, that's the same thing. You might be comfortable for now, but it ain't gonna get you home. I didn't pack on all the extra weight today because it's been a while since I've hiked with that much weight on. Literally the only thing I got in this backpack is I had 2 of these tall boy smart waters and my GoPro camera kit, which my Volta and my camera, like most of which except for the case, is in my hand. So yeah, it's been a while since I've hiked with actual weight, like training weight for training, and I didn't want to just jump right back into it like that. I want to make sure, you know, I'm fit and healthy and able to do these things. But I also realize I need to be careful. Like if I go trying to do too much at once, that could affect the longevity of my ability to do things as well. You know, I think I've told you I'm a late bloomer. I just started these things 6 or 7 years ago at most. I'm just now starting to feel like I have any idea of what I'm doing when I'm out here. So yeah, so I lost my train of thought. Yes, I just bumped into a guy and was talking to him for a minute. Nice guy, but that's what distracted me there for a second, but also what got me, reminded me of what I was talking about. Yeah, I just started this like 6 or 7 years ago. I'm just now getting to the point where I feel like I'm starting to know what I'm doing. So I got to make sure that I don't do something dumb like throw on too much weight when I'm out of routine or out of practice, throwing too much weight in my backpack and taking off for 8 miles. I mean, that could damage my longevity probably faster and more detrimentally than like not going hiking to train for things at all, you know. So yeah, that's what I was getting at there. But yeah, I just met this guy on the trail. It was pretty cool. I love meeting people out on the trails, man, and talking to people. Y'all, if you ever see me out on the trail, stop and holler at me, man. I want to talk to you for real. Like, I love meeting new people. Yeah, so here's what I'm talking about. This says we've gone 7.6 miles, 7.7 miles already. And this trail is only supposed to be, or 7.07. And this trail is only supposed to be like 6.5 miles long. And there's a section of it where you have to cross Chamberlain Road to really complete this side of the loop, which I've never done. Maybe we'll do that when we get up here. But that doesn't even account for. So this trail is for sure, and I've got at least a mile to go. So this trail is for sure 8 miles, I'd say, if you're looking at the whole thing, like say on all trails or something. So just keep that in mind if you come out here. So again, if you're new to the channel, if you've never watched any of my videos before and you haven't seen this, this is all a Hopewell earthwork right here. Try to get a good shot of that where you can read it. Just because I've read it a bunch of times already. Not to be rude or anything, but this just wasn't really going to be part of it wasn't really a point of the trip today, but that is what this is here, is Hopewell earthwork. It's pretty cool to come out and see. I mean, this slope, it's this whole thing. I mean, we've been actually walking alongside it quite a ways. Pretty much the whole time we've been walking by the river, I believe. But it's worth coming and checking out. And if you're a weirdo like I am, there's and it probably just comes with knowing some of the history, but there's like a feeling associated to it. It's a feeling you get that's associated with being here. An interesting feeling, like a peaceful feeling. Beyond what's normally spoken of as far as what the definition of the word peaceful. There's something deeper than that. I just don't know what the word would be, maybe tranquil. But I definitely think these places are sacred, and it's just really cool that we live in a time where they're still here, that we can come and check them out. We can see the history of the Native Americans that lived here. You can find arrowheads, you can still find artifacts all over the place. It's really cool. I'd like to get into more of the artifact stuff at some point. I know that, so I have a video that's got like 7,000 views. And I know we talked a lot about artifacts and stuff in that video. And that's probably what got it to get so many views. But that's not like going to be the main theme of the channel ever. I'm going to always try to do things like that, which is what I'm getting ready, was talking about. But yeah, like my goal is to never have like a main theme of the channel. It's just to share my life experience with people who find it worth taking a peek at. Just kind of opening the windows and doors and letting the air in from the outside. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention that. I know that's what a lot of people came for initially. That's probably my biggest boost of subscribers, contributing to my 402 that I appreciate every one of dearly. I can't believe I have 402 subscribers, but I know a lot of you probably came for that, and I don't want you to be upset by not seeing as much of it as you might have hoped for. But there will be more of it. It's just this channel is not about one specific thing like that. It's what I just said it is. Just opening the doors and windows on my life to anybody that wants to take a peek. You know, the one thing that I'm really only just absolutely and completely determined to accomplish through doing this YouTube channel and putting myself out to the world this way is to understand who I am. It's, again, it's all part of that self-study conversation. I feel like has been the theme of today's walk, but it's to understand who I am to the best of my ability, to examine myself from all angles, all possible angles that are available to me. And like, I go back and I watch these videos, I edit them, I see my own behavior, and I start to understand who I am, so that there's only one of me running around this place, man. Like, I need to know who I am, as uncomfortable as it is at times. Talking to this camera still isn't a comfortable thing for me. I don't know how natural it appears to be, but it doesn't feel like it when I'm talking to this camera. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it when I'm talking to this camera, and I don't know if it ever will. But it's just all part of the discomfort that I have to go through to continue on this path of mine, to understand who I am as a person, so that I can utilize it for its best possible, for whoever that is, to be utilized at its best possible purpose, you know. We're getting close to the parking lot, so I'm encountering a lot of people. So sorry, I keep getting cut off when I'm trying to say whatever it is I'm trying to say at any given time. But yeah, that's the main. If I had to define a main purpose of the channel for me, is to be used as a tool to understand who I am as a person, and so that I can, just like I would advise anybody else on whatever path, you know, on how to embrace whatever path they find themselves on. Like, I want to be able to encourage myself in that same way, because I've never been good at advocating for myself. Like, I'll fight tooth and nail for anybody else. I'll step in and fight your battle for you. As a matter of fact, one of the problems I have is that's kind of immediately what I want to do in any situation. But that's my goal with the channel, y'all. We're about to the end here, so it's probably as good a place as any to wrap it up. But I know Axel had a good time. I definitely got what I needed out of this. Hope you got a little something too. Appreciate y'all coming along, sticking with me. I love y'all. Be weird out loud. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace. You know, hopefully watching my episodes on YouTube is like a rock concert. You think it's over, or the band wants you to think it's over, but you know it's not. They're coming back for one more song. But I just had to show you all this. I was hoping that maybe nobody'd be here today. This parking lot is full. I'm also gonna see how many miles it was when I get to my car up here, so I'll be showing you that before we sign off for good. 7.65 miles from here, right where I'm sitting, back to right where I'm sitting. So yeah, if you add on that extra little piece that I haven't done yet, it's behind me. I actually would have done it, but I forgot until I just started talking about it already. But if you add on that little piece behind me, that's for sure a half a mile, if not more. So, if not closer to a mile. So yeah, I'd say this is, at a minimum, this is an 8-mile loop for anybody that comes out here in the future. But once again, man, love y'all. Thanks for coming along. Peace.